I am live. Check it. 1, 2. We're on. Hey, thanks for joining Dad with a Phone. I know I haven't been doing a bunch of live videos, man. I have been literally swamped with stuff. I've got a lot of stuff coming up in the next couple of, next couple of, we got a lot of stuff coming. But yesterday we did an interview with People Magazine. This is not going to be a written article. I know a lot of people have asked, when's the article going to be published? I hope they're not publishing an article. This is for a series that they have online called The People Investigate, or The People's Investigation. And it's on the Discovery Network or the ID Network. I think it's Discovery. Investigation Discovery Network. And so probably in the next 6 months, it'll air sometime. I don't even want to tell you when it'll air because I don't even know when it'll air. I won't get to see it before it airs. And I may or may not even get a heads up before it airs. But here's what I can tell you. 100% they're going to use my footage because they bought my footage from me. And then whether or not they use my interview, I could care less. But it was a strange interview. I'm going to tell you that. It was. I had a couple of weird vibes. So hopefully I don't get blindsided from the edit, because here's a couple of things that happened. One, these people contacted me early on in the case when Kelsey Barrett, the whole case started taking off, and they contacted me after the Dateline interview. So because Dateline, here's what Dateline did. What people don't understand is Dateline did what they call vetted me. And they have people on Dateline staff that literally looked into who I was, why I was doing what I was doing, how I came about doing what I was doing, how did this work out. And so Dateline is kind of the standard because they do all the major crime stuff, and then everyone else kind of follows along with them, right? And so, especially when it's like up-to-date cases that they can follow live and be there and do stuff about, they're going to do it, and they're going to vet you. Like, I didn't talk about this before the Dateline deal, but they almost like interrogated me for a good hour on a phone call. And so once, I'm just making sure I'm not muted or something. My Nikes is all going up and down. So once they vetted me, all these other networks kind of piggyback off of what they've already done. And so, but this one was a little different because they contacted me early on, and then they went silent, and then they came back, and I think they've interviewed about 6 or 7 people so far. But my interview was weird. It was some weird stuff. And if they try to edit me up a little bit, I'm going to bust some butts, man. I will wring some heads, because I just got that feeling. At one point I was like, why are you asking me this question 15 different ways? And I'm telling you, I don't have an answer for that question. And it was just weird questions. And then yesterday, and my wife made fun of me. So we did a lot of walking and talking around the courthouse. Like, it wasn't that I was acting, but they were like, hey, can we do that again? Say the same thing. Try to say it the same kind of way. Can you do it? And so I told my wife, I was like, right when we left, and you can add Nikki a witness to this, dude. We walked out of that interview video shoot last night, and I said, I get a real strange feeling about this one. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, we'll see how it all comes together, and they cut it. And if I even make the cut, hopefully, really truthfully, hopefully I don't make the cut. But if I make the cut, there is no telling how they're going to paint dad with a phone. I don't think they're going to do anything malicious or evil, or I just, there were a couple of questions where I was like, why are you asking me this 3 different ways? Why do you want me to embellish? They wanted me to embellish the truth. And that was what I didn't like that. I didn't like, I'll say it this way. So she said, so how early would you get to the courthouse? How early would you get to the courthouse on court days? And I was like, well, it just depends on the court time. And I was like, she was like, well, what was like, did you get there early? And I was like, here's what happened. Patrick would come, everybody would want the video shot of Patrick, but then the courtroom wouldn't open for an hour. And so I said, we would get here early, and then we would go down and eat breakfast, and then we would come back up. She said, well, how long was the line wrapped around the building? And I was like, sometimes there wasn't even a line wrapped around the building. You just walked right in. Sometimes there was very few people here, and then sometimes there was a line outside, you know? And so it like, and then if I didn't say, well, she was like, well, tell us, like, say it like you would get here at 6:30 and you would get in line first. And I was like, but that's not what I would do. I said, you can watch my videos online. And so I kind of joked with her a little bit and laughed. I was just like, why? If you try to paint me as like a fanboy of Patrick and I was the first one in line, I'm going to be pissed. And I didn't tell her that, but I told the cameraman that off camera. So there was just this weird line of questioning. So here's what happened. I started my interviews with them at 11 a.m. 11 a.m. And I didn't finish my interviews with them until after 7 p.m. So 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. all day long. We did a 3-hour sit down Zoom interview. So I Zoomed with the producer from California, and then they had a full video set inside an Airbnb up here in Woodland Park, like 4 different camera angles, but they were on a real skeleton crew, all masked up, gloved up, all the COVID procedures. And it was, they probably could have had at least 6, maybe 7 other people with them. And it was a skeleton crew of about 5 people. I think they had 5 people. And then, and they were running around like chickens with their heads cut off. We literally had a bear. There's a sheriff officer right there at the stop sign. Let's see what this old sheriff's officer is doing. Watching the old dad with a phone. Bet you are, buddy. We had a bear show up right in the middle of my interview up at the Airbnb. And the lady in Los Angeles, she flipped out a little bit because the entire camera crew, the audio guys, everybody scattered out of the house, and they all wanted to take video and pictures of the bear. And I was like, hey guys, I can take y'all. We can go see a mom and cubs down the street. I was like, I had a bear last night if you want to camp out at the house, you know? And so it was funny because then she was like, well, I said, well, we have to stop. The camera guys have left. I'm talking to this lady on Zoom. She's interviewing me on Zoom. The whole crew leaves looking at a bear. And the lady in LA is like, what the hell, people? We're on a deadline. So that was funny. I'm just saying it was funny. It was a good interview. We did like 3 hours of sit down talking about the case. I really did not like her line of questioning. There was at one point, she asked me, She asked me, she said, what was the reaction of people in the courtroom when Cheryl Barrett testified in court? And I said, oh, I wasn't in that court hearing. But an interesting story about that. I was doing a live video seconds or minutes before Cheryl Barrett testified, and I just had this inclination to pray for Cheryl Barrett, and we prayed for Cheryl Barrett literally right before she went up, and nobody knew she was going up. That happened live, and then but then she would go back and she was like, so she would then repeat the question. She was like, okay, so when Cheryl Barrett took the stand and Cheryl Barrett said this about KK, or this, no, she said, when she said this about Patrick, or this about, what was the emotion in the courtroom? And I was like, ma'am, I don't know if you can hear me through the Zoom or whatever, but I wasn't in the courtroom when Cheryl Barrett testified. So then we come to another, we get to like 4 hour, we get to hour 2.5 of interview. And it wasn't all weird questions. There were just a few weird questions. There was another one. Oh, I wasn't. So if you remember, when there was a disturbance in the courtroom after Patrick's guilty verdict was given. But the disturbance happened after I walked out and was live on the street. So when Patrick Frazee was found guilty of murder, I was sitting on the third row, a little ways back, and the Judge Sells says, the jury finds you guilty on all charges. I immediately and quietly stand up and just slowly walk out of the courthouse, because you can't go live. You can't do any live tweets. You couldn't say anything. You couldn't live tweet. You couldn't even live tweet from inside. And so I walk out and I get to and by the time I get to the front door, I'm live videoing out the courthouse. Ashley Franco from KKTV, she gets up and walks out behind me, but then that starts a stampede of reporters leaving the courtroom, and the judge gets pissed. Nobody's leaving. Everybody needs to sit down. This is so disrespectful. So the judge says something like that. I don't know exactly, because I'm downstairs. I left politely, not in a rush, walking very slowly, very indiscriminately. Nobody even knew I left except one reporter. And the one reporter, she knew who I was. Those other reporters might not even have been paying attention. But as soon as Ashley left, they started tracking after her, right? What if I had to just go to the restroom? Maybe I was getting nauseated. Maybe I wasn't going to be able to control my emotion to then let it out. And the judge says, if you can't control your emotions, you need to remove yourself from the courtroom. Maybe that was the reason I left. For whatever reason, I left. But this People magazine lady tried to make it like, she tried to ask me about the disturbance, and I was like, I don't recall a disturbance. I left. I told her what I just told you guys. I knew what had happened, but I didn't tell her that. And she says, well, you mean you didn't walk out and like, and there was a commotion in the courtroom? And I was like, no. And I said, there was no, I didn't have any a part of any commotion in the courtroom, you know? And she's like, well, did the judge order everyone to stay in the courtroom? And I was like, not when I strolled out. I mean, I just leisurely strolled out, you know? So there was this line of questioning around me that made me a little uncomfortable for a second. She didn't stay there long. She went about her business and about her line of questioning. And most of her questioning was around legit Patrick Frazee case info. But there were a few like, are you trying to get me questions? And so, People Magazine, if y'all write me up as get you, you ain't played Dad with a Phone yet. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, it was fun. It was just a weird line of questioning that they had on a couple. Now you got to remember, we're 3 hours in. She may have some notes that say, hey, you know, Dad with the Phone, because she had other notes. Like she asked me about like how I got information. That was one of the coolest questions. She said, what was your greatest tool for gathering information during the Patrick Frazee case? And I said, that's easy. The inability for people to keep a secret. Like, even if you're a dispatch worker at the Teller County Sheriff's Department and you have info that, hey, there's another woman involved, and you want to let that, you want to let that out, you want to tell somebody, tell Dad with the Phone, and Dad with the Phone will let it out, and you can know that was you who did it, because that happened. And she had done her research about that. She says, you know, you were like kind of credited with the first person to let out that there was another woman involved. And I said, well, I don't know that I was the first one to say that there was another woman involved. And she said, yeah, but you gave the source to where you found out, which was a dispatch officer. And we found out that a dispatch officer was the source of the leak. And you were kind of the first one to leak that information. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. How'd you find all that out? And she was like, well, we do our investigating, you know. I don't think they did their investigating as much as they just looked at my Facebook page. But so they had some really cool questions around. She asked me what was the greatest tool. I said it was the people who couldn't, their inability to keep a secret, you know. And so for whatever reason, I asked her a question and she couldn't answer it. I said, why are you talking to me? Because they want to know how you're involved with the Patrick Frazee case. And I say to them, well, why are you talking to me? Why am I sitting in this chair in front of you doing this interview? And if you can't answer that question to me, then you and I probably have to have a chat that goes back, 5 years. And so she couldn't really answer the question. She was like, I'm really not sure. And I said, so why so the question you need to ask me is not how I was involved in the Patrick Frazee case. You need to ask me why I'm sitting in front of you today. And I can explain that to you. The only reason I'm sitting in front of anyone, hey, come here. Hey, my muffins just got fixed. Oh, come here, Muff. And she's biting out her staples. Lay down. Oh, no. No. She's biting at her staples and she's pissed. I'm so sorry, guys. My camera is Flying around. Muffins, don't be biting at your staples. Come here, Muff. Muff. Little dog maintenance here. Muffins, come here. All right. Just don't bite at your staples. So her inability to explain to me why I was sitting in her chair getting asked questions by her, it was a little not off-putting to me, but almost like you guys don't even understand what's happening. And so I answered this question very simply. I said, if live news, in other words, if the news station is live telling a story about something, they're already too late, because somebody with a cell phone is telling that story on social media with YouTube or Facebook or anything like that. And over the course of just a few months, I was able to literally turn the tide in who was talking about this case, who was dropping facts about this case, who was dropping info about this case, not because I'm special, but simply because we live in a time that social media moves faster than live media, than live traditional media. And when live traditional media is second, there's just no need for them. And so I said, that's the only reason I'm sitting here, is because I was able to make enough noise that everyone else was like, what the hell is going on with this dude? Who the hell is this guy? How the hell did he, what did he, where he just found something out that we didn't know. And that was the most beautiful part of, outside of the Patrick Frazee case. For me, it was a beautiful part, and also a real learning in a new wave of social media. And by God, it's been a great ride and continues to be a fun ride. And so a lot of people, even on Dad with the Phone, even people locally, I was talking to someone locally, and they were like, why are they interviewing you? And I said, it really has nothing to do necessarily with the Patrick Frazee case. It is simply a little phenomenon that happened with, oh my goodness, there's this one guy who is doing a live video from this place, or he's doing this, or he's telling a story about Patrick in the holding cell at the Teller County Jail. But it's really a phenomenon about you guys. And that's what the freaking media and People's Magazine and Dateline and all the news organizations, they understand it. They just don't want to admit it. It's really about you. It's not about me. It's not about Patrick. You guys haven't even made it about Kelsey. You have really made it about you as a viewer. We see it every day in every true crime case that happens. We see it with every true crime creator. They try to make it about themselves. They pop up and they tell you about all their stuff, and they're going to tell you about them. They're going to ask for your stuff, and they're going to get you to join, and they're going to do all this, and they're going to make it about themselves. But really, this whole true crime genre on Facebook and YouTube and on social media, when it comes to a Discovery ID or People Magazine or Dateline or Inside Edition or Oxygen. Did I get all the ones that I did? Like 5 networks, people, on one true crime. And the only reason I did that was because of you, not because of me. It was really because of you. You made enough noise. You said Dad with the Phone enough. My haters said Dad with the Phone enough that the rest of traditional media was like, who the hell is this Dad with the Phone guy? And so that's really what is fun about doing these interviews with these People's Magazine or these Datelines or these Inside Editions or these Oxygen networks. I got a Twitter from somebody who said, congratulations on your People Magazine thing. And I said, Oh, wait for it. I head to Hollywood next. They think I'm joking. It's about you. You guys made enough noise in some way at the right time to the right people that I got interviewed by People Magazine, and it wasn't even about me. Now, we talked about Kelsey. We talked about Patrick. They didn't want to talk about Crystal Lee, but I didn't let them get away with that shit. I gave them a little extra. They were like, they tried to not want to talk to me about Crystal Lee Kinney. And I told them, no, if you don't do a piece, an extra, an internet piece or something, you have to ask questions about Crystal Lee Kinney and the broken system that we live in, where someone who came down to murder a woman 3 times, on the 4th time she cleaned up. We don't even know if she's given us the real truth. And that bitch is getting out of jail. She'll get out of jail before COVID is over, folks. They didn't want to talk about that, though. They did not. They gave me my minute. She says, I can see you're real passionate about Crystal Lee Kinney. I said, because that girl is so diabolical. She went to someone's house with poisoned coffee. She says she didn't poison it. I beg to differ. I think Kelsey was just too damn smart to drink it, and she poured that shit in the trash. She told her co-workers about it. This strange woman brought me some coffee. Did you drink it? Hell no. Poured that shit in the trash. KK said she didn't poison it. That lying why do you just bring someone? Oh. So they didn't want to talk about that. People's Magazine. Y'all should do a story on her. I wish people would wake their ass up and realize that just because the DA will not give you the story of what happened, just because the judge and the system made a deal with the literal Queen Devil herself, they didn't need her. That's the funny thing. I guarantee you, I don't give a shit how good of a lawyer she had. They did not have to sign the deal. They could have said, no, tell us what you know, and we'll think about it. You got to get your Columbo just a little bit better. CBI Greg Slater, you got to get a little bit better poker face, bro. Because I know you try to look good. Oh, we nailed Patrick to the wall. Oh, we got Patrick. Oh, we got Patrick. We brought justice for Kelsey. But the truth is, you let a murderer out. The system's broken, people. If you don't believe me, the system's broken, then get off Dad with the Phone channel, because the system is broken. We glorify whatever. I'm on a random on a nothing. Good to hear from you, especially bringing coffee from different state. What up, Dad? We're just talking doodle about Psychopath KK today. Well, they didn't want to talk about KK, so I got to give the devil her due. And so, yeah, when I'm talking about Patrick Frazee, you have to talk about how evil and diabolical and sinister Crystal Lee Kinney is. You have to. You cannot let people forget. The day she walks out of jail, there ought to be a picket line the size of freaking Texas outside the jail. This is just Dad with the Phone's opinion. So that was kind of depressing. Listen, the People Magazine people were nice. I think they'll do a good job. They asked some weird questions. I'm a little leery. Just know that I'm telling you right now, if some bullshit piece comes out, I already saw that bitch coming. I already saw it coming. So, and if they want to play games, we play games with them. No, I doubt they're going to. I don't know why I have that feeling. They just asked a lot of weird questions. Can I just say that? And so if they try to twist my answers in some weird way, I'll be upset about that too. Anyway, when does the interview come out? Probably 6 months before this thing airs. So it's the People Investigate series, but they're still shooting through where they're. I might meet back up with them before Sunday, and so they're still shooting through Sunday, and so today and tomorrow out here they did interviews with the DA. They did interviews. They shot a lot of. They had a drone pilot out, and I was like, "Bitch, put that drone away. I got more drone footage than you'll know what to do with actual cop cars in the courthouse scene, man." I said, "Get out of here. Y'all hadn't seen my hard drive yet." And so, yeah, they had a full skeleton crew, the best I could put it. Little disorganized. I had like 3 or 4 producers calling me, all of them saying different things. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that interview. Here comes my beautiful young lady, Miss Ella Gray. Hollywood. That's all I can say. Hollywood. That's really all I can say is Hollywood. Whole month in Hollywood. It's gonna be a trip. Y'all gonna go with me? Hey, we'll talk to you later. It's Dad with the phone. Thanks for watching. Y'all want to say hi to Ella? Ella, you want to say hi on a live video? What you doing at the park? Anything going on over there?
Not really.
No. Not really. Nobody's there?
Well, there was.
You tired?
Not really.
Not really. Say, hit that like and subscribe.
Hit that like and subscribe.
And what else? Share. We'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah.
No. Tell everybody goodbye.
Bye.
Look right into that camera.
Bye.
You're not even looking in the camera.
Bye.